This is Veterans Voices with VTC, and you are listening to our very first podcast. This is not our first podcast, but this is the very first podcast that VTC has ever had. And we've been doing this for how long, Madison?
Wow, has it been? It's been over a month now.
Yeah, I think it's been a month or two. It's just crazy, but it's been an amazing ride so far, and I'm so excited. It's made my job so much more meaningful on so many levels. So it's been great. So just to let you know, if this is the first time that you're listening to us, this is the Veterans Voices with VTC, and we share real stories of strength, survival, and hope. Our mission at the Veterans Transition Center is empowering veterans to move from crisis to self-sufficiency, but we can't do that without the strength, survival, and hope of the veterans. And we are so grateful to each and every one of them that comes through our doors, lives in one of our houses or in our permanent supportive housing complex, which our guest you'll hear from shortly will be able to tell us about. We're excited to have Aleen here, and she's a case manager over at Lightfighter Village. And Lightfighter Village, for those of you that don't know, it's our new 70-unit apartment complex for permanent supportive housing for veterans that opened in January. So we're excited to have Aleen talking about that. And then Yvonne is one of the residents there. So we're excited about where this is going to go today. We are streaming every Wednesday at 4 p.m. on Santa Cruz Voice, and we are so grateful to be a part of that family. They are broadcasting our podcast for free every Wednesday at 4 because they support our mission, which is an amazing thing. So we're really happy to be a part of the family at Santa Cruz Voice. Also, you can get our podcast anytime on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and our very own website, vtcvoices.org. And you can also find any information about our podcast or anything that's coming up at our website, vtcofcalifornia.org. My name is Lisa Kincaid, and I am your host for this show. And I've got my co-host and producer, Madison McNamara. How you doing, Maddie?
Hey, Lisa. I'm excited to be here with Yvonne and Aleen. It's going to be our first episode talking about full-on Lightfighter Village. So I'm excited to learn more.
You know what I thought you were going to say? All women. It's all women
it
podcast.
It is an all-women podcast.
Our first.
That's exciting too.
Yeah, our first. We should have a song for that. I didn't prepare, but yeah. So this is our first all-women podcast. So we're excited to be meeting here with Aleen. And Aleen, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background and what brought you to VTC and Lightfighter Village?
Well, I was interning. I was a student at CSUMB, and I was interning. I did shadow Bobby with the permanent supportive housing here at the VTC. And when the position opened up for Lightfighter Village, I applied because I had interned for about a year, and I really enjoyed working with veterans and being around the VTC in this whole environment. So I applied for it, and I've been at Lightfighter ever since.
And Bobby is Bobby Merritt,
yes.
who we had him on, I think, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He was one of our guests.
Mm-hmm. So tell us, I mean, obviously you've worked with veterans for how long now? How long have you been doing this in terms of working with veterans in your career?
Be like a year and a half.
Okay. And how did you find out about VTC?
It's one of the internship sites that I could have chosen through school. It was the Collaborative Health and Human Service degree that I just finished up last fall.
At CSUMB?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we saw your graduation photos. You graduated with your husband, right?
Yeah, I did.
That's so sweet.
Oh my gosh. And what was his field?
He graduated with kinesiology.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we were both in school together, and he's a veteran.
Oh,
and
wow.
Being around veterans, it's like second nature to me.
Tell us a little bit more about your background.
So I have worked with the older population throughout the years. I did take time off to kind of help my dad. And then I was in school. My dad recently passed away. So I kind of feel like after I graduated, I know that my dad wanted me to kind of continue with schooling. So I'm starting the master's program.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And I'm going to continue working.
And you mentioned earlier, I think your dad was in the military. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was in the Marines.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
How long did he serve?
I think he did 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
My brother was in the Marine Corps for a little while, 6 years or whatever. Mechanic. He was a helicopter mechanic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So tell us, it sounds like you're really feeling connected by working with veterans. What personally motivates you in working with veterans?
I just feel like I have so many years kind of assisting, like my dad, and with appointments and pretty much with anything he needed. I was the daughter that was at home, and my field is social work, so it's pretty much the same thing. Mm-hmm. I'm assisting a lot of the clients with Medi-Cal or, their appointments, or assisting with support services, giving them rides to different places. So I'm used to being around the older population.
Mm-hmm. And our average age here is about 65, right, of our veterans that are either in our program or graduated from our program. And it's definitely a growing population in terms of age. Mm-hmm. I mean, and their needs are growing as well. I mean, I know that I'm hearing that it can be daunting working out the paperwork for the VA, for example, and figuring out what it is benefits that you deserve or that you've already earned. So I know that we are a liaison for that process, right? Pretty powerful in itself. So how is your outlook on veteran homelessness? How has that changed since you've been working at VTC?
I feel like the more that I'm in the field, the more I tend to understand that a lot of the veterans, they do need the extra assistance. They do need the extra help, the extra explanation, and getting the hands-on at Lightfighter Village or here at, the Veterans Transition Center. A lot of the different skills that they're learning is going to help them.
And a lot of them are new. I mean, we had a tour yesterday of Lightfighter Village, and using an app on your phone to wash for your fancy new washing machines, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, thank God you're there to kind of help walk them through it. I mean, I don't even know if I could do that, but there's always new and changing, with technology. Mm-hmm. So they're lucky to have you, that's for sure. Can you explain a little bit more about Lightfighter Village? I mean, what is it for the listeners that are tuning in for the first time?
So Lightfighter Village is a development between EAH Housing and the Veterans Transition Center of California. The idea was to do permanent supportive housing. So permanent housing, they have a lease, and then the support services is where Bobby and I would come in, and we would do case management and help. We would meet them where they're at and then help with getting them to where they would like to be.
And tell us, you mentioned EAH. I mean, I know EAH, they basically built the property, but tell us a little bit about them.
So EAH is a big housing corporation. I know that they have quite a few in California, one in Hawaii. And it's, I know we're going to open one up in Greenfield. And they assist a different clientele. I think this is the first time that they've opened up housing for veterans.
And they focus on nonprofit organizations, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there's one up north on a campus, but this partnership with VTC is hands-on because we're literally a block away.
Yeah. And the services that we provide to the veterans that live on Hayes, which is just a block away, and then down that same street is where Lightfighter's located. And they can still use our pantry.
Yes.
They can attend any classes that we have here, and any resources that we provide, they're able to take advantage of. But you are also doing other things at Lightfighter Village separately, specifically for those residents, right?
Yeah, I do participate at the VTC and Lightfighter Village with a phone class. So once a month, I do assist with teaching new skills, or I'll do handouts, and then I do work with the housing team over there and the service team over at Lightfighter Village, and we bring in different activities and different types of services that we can connect the veterans to.
What type of activities are you guys having or planning on having?
They do, I know the resident service coordinator does do coffee socials and like group activities.
And are they working on a community garden or just some sort of a garden there for And will it be vegetables or flowers, or what is the plan for the garden?
I think the garden is going to start in about a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That quick?
Yeah. And
That's
it's supposed
awesome.
to be different types of like food that they can grow and then eat as well.
So like lettuce or any vegetable that they want, or what? That's awesome.
Yeah, I was excited. I told them, I said, I'd like to see a lemon tree.
Yeah, I love lemons. Okay, let's see. What does a typical day look like at Lightfighter Village for you, Aleen?
So a typical day, I would come in and then Bobby and I would go over the plan for the day. And then we have different appointments, different meetings for different days. I know that once a week we do meet with EAH Housing, and it's the management and the resident service coordinator. And it would be Bobby and I and VTC members. And we just go over different types of services, different types of programs that are coming in, and just how to continue to maintain.
And when you meet with veterans that live there and support them, explain a little bit what you offer and how you support them on a daily basis.
Okay, so with case management, I meet a client, and sometimes if they didn't come from the permanent supportive housing program that Bobby had originally, because it moved into the whole Lightfighter Village is the permanent supportive housing, but it started with a handful of veterans, and then it became a lot more. So throughout that transition, I'm meeting new veterans from who have applied to Lightfighter Village anywhere in the Monterey County. We had applicants, and then when I meet the new tenants, we just kind of meet, and then we go over certain just different types of things that they would like assistance with, and then we continue to meet regularly to achieve those goals.
That's awesome. And do you do goal setting with them? I mean, do you sit down? Do they all have some sort of a plan? Or, I mean, obviously they're not in our program necessarily, but I'm sure that they continue to have needs. And I mean, I think it's amazing that your personal connection with them, I'm sure, is extremely powerful. And some probably need more assistance than others. Some are more independent. What do you think has been an exciting, like an aha moment for you that's happened over there with a veteran?
An aha moment. I'm not too sure. I think it's nice when, like if I get asked regular questions, but then a client will come in and just kind of like problem solve it on their own. That's a nice feeling. I know that, when I'm meeting a client for the first time, it's kind of based off of their needs. So it's really apparent. I do HMIS work with Bobby, and then I also assist with bus vouchers. I do also taxi vouchers, and then I can enroll people on the MST transit so they can get picked up. And then I look into as many services as I can in order to assist a client based off of their needs and what they need assistance with.
That's amazing. I think that's a skill in itself, right? Just being able to identify how you can really help somebody. That's, I think, key in that relationship.
Well, speaking of helping people, how do you handle veterans with specific special needs, like disabilities and all of that?
I do. I have worked throughout the year with different veterans who do show different mobility needs or different speech needs. There's different types of assistance that they would require. And in certain cases, I just remind the client to bring their walker or their cane, or when it comes to, and I know this like on a personal level, it's really easy to kind of get overwhelmed or stressed or kind of feeling upset. So I just try to remind whatever client, whoever's in front of me, it's okay, take your time. Like you can write it down. I give different options in order to see what can work, and then we move forward from there.
And Lightfighter Village, it's pretty ADA accessible, right? We were there yesterday, and I saw one of their carts in the hallway, and so they had just, I guess, parked it outside and kind of gone inside. But basically, they can get anywhere, right? Within the building.
Yes. One of the great features about Lightfighter Village is the ramps. There's different ramps to both buildings. And then there's also the handicap accessible push open doors. And there's an elevator, which is lovely. I do enjoy the elevator quite a bit. But for the rooms themselves, yes, there's walk-in showers, and there's different types of assistance based on the client's mobility needs that they can request at Lightfighter Village.
And I know I love coming down there and visiting the dogs. Are all dogs welcome, or all animals? How does that work?
So it is pet friendly. And then for the tenants, if they need assistance, I guess you have to register your pet, and there's different procedures for them to have their pet stay with them. But yes, it is pet friendly.
That's great.
Yeah.
Which we know that's important to a lot of veterans. I mean, I think that emotional support animals, PTSD, all kinds of different levels of struggle or crisis they could be going through. There's a lot of pets in our program, so I appreciate that. Talking a little bit more about the different rooms and accessibility, I keep forgetting, when we went on the tour yesterday, I was just amazed by the quiet room, the great room, the washroom. I mean, so tell me a little bit about the different resource rooms that you have available there to the veterans.
So we do have, I believe it's a 24-hour wash and dryer room. And then they can also purchase like a wash card, just like any other laundromat. It's reasonably priced. And then we have a like a pet wash type of room where you can go in and just kind of groom your animal. And then there's a meditation room where you can go in, and I believe that one's 9 to 5. Those are the hours you can walk in, and you can just, take a moment. There's a phone booth room in case you need to walk into like a private room and have a conversation. There's a game room, and then there's the community room downstairs.
Isn't there a room where the big television is? Where's that?
That's the game room.
Oh, yeah, got it.
On the second floor, and there's also a computer room.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That is a nice setup.
4 computers. Yeah, it's really nice.
That's great. I bet that's used a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful.
And do you guys offer assistance for people who maybe don't know how to use a computer?
There is different types of services that the resident service coordinator has brought in. I'm also there to assist with different phone questions, but the computers are easily accessible, just like they are here at the VTC. You would just walk in and put a code in and then just start using it. So the residents really, they really have this great opportunity to advance their skills.
Is there anything that Lightfighter Village is working on for their residents? Anything upcoming?
I know that there's going to be different services coming in that could probably assist with different housing needs, like I think there's a bank coming in, and different local programs, but I'm not too sure.
Isn't it Westcom? Is Westcom coming in?
I think it's Westcom, yeah.
To help with financial support.
Yes.
And helping them with setting up accounts, different levels of accounts. Building credit is a huge one too. That I know that you guys provide support for. So I think that's going to be exciting when they come in and start doing that.
I heard that they're going to assist with digital literacy as well. So,
wow.
Yeah, they're going to take their time to assist one-on-one.
Oh, that's
awesome.
Great. Yeah, for sure. So when you think about, this has only been open since January, but it wasn't full until when? March? April?
Yeah, around March, April.
Right. So when you think about the Lightfighter Village approach and how veterans with complex needs, you meet with them on a daily basis if necessary and help meet their needs. What do you think is the biggest need right now that you're seeing? Whether it be emotional or physical or educational or whatever you think, what are you seeing? You touched a little bit on, it is a little bit of an older population. So technology could be an issue. What are some things that you are seeing kind of float to the surface?
I think a lot of the main issues that I feel like I deal with daily would be assistance with getting them on health insurance. There's transportation issues, and then getting them enrolled into a food program is another one of my top.
And tell me a little bit more about what a food program would look like.
Whether it's Meals on Wheels, or we could enroll different veterans based off of which program they want to kind of enroll in. Those different types of programs, they could assist with enrollment onto, I don't want to say the Project Food Box, but I know there's different types of organic or pre-made meals that are offered through different agencies.
Right. I think there's 2 that we've known about so far.
I know last time for your National Night Out, we were there, we were tabling, and we met St. Vincent, who was handing out Subway meals to everybody, but also just spreading knowledge about how they deliver curated food boxes based on their diet.
Yes, they're one of the agencies that we can try to enroll different veterans into, and it's not veterans only, but they do assist with transportation. They do assist with delivered produce or meals. Yeah. So they're one of the top ones that we're doing right now.
That's amazing.
So are there any specific needs that we can let the listeners know about? I mean, for example, we're always taking donations at the food pantry, for example. We're always taking non-perishables. We're taking frozen food and, anything that people want to donate. But is there a specific need that Lightfighter Village, that we can just give a shout out for in case somebody wants to drop something by?
I'm really excited for the gardening one. So if you know anyone who can come by and, I guess, offer some different types of plants or something like that, that would be nice, because that's going to be our next project.
Do you have any?
Yeah,
sorry.
Go ahead. No.
Do you have anybody coming by to kind of give a lecture on how to care for plants?
No, I mean, I haven't heard of that yet, but I know that we're slowly in the process of getting started with it. I just feel really excited.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a great idea to have someone come and maybe even provide seeds or the small plants that are already sort of starting to bud, and then how they need to be watered, how often they need to be watered, how much sun that they need. I think that would be a great idea. So if anyone out there would like to come and help with this communal garden that's happening over at Lightfighter Village, they have, what are they called? Above ground planters, right?
Planter boxes.
And they're large. Those are nice and long. And so I think you'll be able to have something great that I think it's very therapeutic too.
Yeah.
I know I love to garden. Well, let's see what else. If you could tell the public and the listeners one thing about veteran homelessness that maybe people don't understand. Do you have a thought on that?
I've seen the homeless population grow more and more, and I think it's important to realize that a lot of the veterans they've been on the streets for, depending on how long, but it's usually a really long time. And I think that if we can offer some sort of support, even with giving a phone number out or, paying close attention to, maybe offering different advice on where they can go, where the local food donations are in Marina, or different types of, organizations that can help, especially the VTC, Veterans Transition Center, is always available to assist. That should be one of the top, because the Veterans Transition Center of California is located here in Marina. So it should be maybe like the top, name to put out there to a veteran who's, either coming through the area or, is deciding to live on the streets here. Yeah.
Right. And word of mouth is really important, because veterans who are living on the streets may not have access to a cell phone or Google where they can find out where to find this kind of stuff.
Yep.
And one thing I know that VTC, with all of us here at VTC, we're very proud of, is that we treat veterans because we treat them like they're human beings, because they are.
Yep.
And they're human beings that have served our country, and they deserve so much more. And so anyone that we come in contact with that wants help and resources, we are happy to provide that for them. And that brings up one of the main reasons why we're here is if you know a veteran, or if you are a veteran and you need assistance, support in any way, our phone number is 831-883-8255. 8387, and we will get you in contact with a case manager that will provide you with the support that you need and get you on your way to a stable life and environment. Again, the phone number is 831-883-8387. If you would like to donate to the Veterans Transition Center to support our mission as we continue to support veterans on a daily basis, they deserve it so much. Feel free to check out our website, vtcofcalifornia.org. If you'd like to send us an email with any questions about any of our programs, the email would be info@vtcmonterey.org. I'd like to give a quick shout out again to Santa Cruz Voice for supporting our podcast. We are sharing the real stories of veterans that have moved from crisis to self-sufficiency through the Veterans Transition Center, but it's because of their heart and their desire to make a difference, not only in their own lives, but giving back to their community. That's been one of the most powerful things I think I've seen working here is they really want to give back. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really powerful. So let's go ahead and introduce Yvonne. Yvonne, thank you so much for being here in the first all-women VTCvoices.org. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
All right, so we'll need to have you get a little closer to your mic so we can hear you.
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your military background, Yvonne.
Okay, well, I joined right here in Monterey County. I was born and raised here, and I joined to become an administrative assistant at first, and then once I went to that school training, the unit I was assigned to did not have a pay slot for that particular job, and it was only for broadcasters and journalists. And it was a public affairs unit, so my commander asked me if I wanted to be reclassified and to become a broadcaster or a journalist. And of course, I was so excited. He said, yeah. He said, we could use you as an admin assistant, but there's no pay slot. So I trained for the broadcast, and my voice was too infantile, too soft. And then I was able to do journalism. So I went to journalism school with all kinds of officers and enlisted, mostly men. And I'll never forget that experience. I'll save that for another question. But yeah, that was my job as a journalist for a newspaper in San Antonio, Fort Sam Houston, called Tough Hombre.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
It was.
And how did you end up here?
Well, I was born and raised here. Like I said, I got married here. I was a military wife here. My husband was at DLI, Defense Language Institute, and he was a Russian linguist. So I got married here, had my first child at Fort Ord when Fort Ord was here, and traveled all over the United States. And then we separated and got a divorce. And I then moved to Georgia and helped raise our daughters and 7 grandkids. And I stayed there for about 20 years. And then my mom, who still lives in Monterey County, became elderly, 80 years old, real feeble and weak, and asked me to come home and help her. And we have not lived together since my teenage years. So you can imagine the problems that we had. And it got really unbearable, and I became homeless at that point.
Wow.
And so I called all the numbers, and one of them was the VTC and Nation's Finest. And I started out with Nation's Finest, who put me in a hotel room. And then VTC didn't have any beds at the time, but thank God, the very next day, they had a bed open for me. And I went through that program for 90 days until I got housed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
And now you have a permanent supportive home
Absolutely.
at Lightfighter Village.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
So backing up a little bit, what inspired you to join the military?
Because everybody said I couldn't do it.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I was the typical feminine girly girl, like Private Benjamin. And they said the Army will kick you out. There's no way you'll make it. and I was determined to prove them wrong. And I had a girlfriend who was the same, and we joined on the buddy program. And they had an enlistment bonus at the time for everybody that signed up. And that was mostly it.
Wow. What year was that, if you don't mind me asking?
No problem. 1987.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Let's see. What would you say one of your most impactful or memorable moments of being involved in the Army?
Oh, there's so many.
I know. I'm sure there
my
are.
gosh.
Can you just grab a couple of them for us in your memory bank? We just love to hear what moved you during that time. What made you continue to stay there, in that program, in that process, because it really is very meaningful and impactful to our listeners to hear.
Absolutely. I would say, because there was some negative as well, and so I'll pass on that unless you want to talk about that later. But the positive impact was when I went to that school I was telling you about for journalists, and on the very first day I've got majors, lieutenants, and I was the lowest enlisted, just a PV2, private 2, and everybody got to share their experience about how they got into this program. What I didn't know was that some of these officers were waiting for years.
Oh my gosh.
Like 5-10 years to get into the program for journalists. And so they had some real hard knock stories. And when it came to my turn, it was very simple. They didn't have a pay slot, and here I am.
Wow.
And everybody was floored, angry, that it was that simple for me. So I felt kind of bad, in one way, happy for me in a sense, but bad that so many really wanted it so bad and couldn't get in it. Well, as a result of, me just being lackadaisical, for lack of a better word, about all of that, I really wasn't trying really hard to do well. I was just there, and so my papers started to show it, and I was put in to be dropped from the course. And like your eyes I felt that. Yeah, I exactly felt that. And remember, my whole reason for joining was to prove that I could do it. And I did not want to get dropped. So I went to my counselor and I begged to be given another chance. And he saw my determination and my enthusiasm and my willingness to fight, and I did, and I graduated with 3.5, and I was so grateful that
Congratulations.
Somebody didn't just say no, I don't want to, and I'm going to drop you. He really gave me a chance, and I was so happy about that.
Wow.
That was the most impactful.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to know what it was like to be a journalist in the Army.
Oh,
What does that even mean? I mean, I know what it means because I see military photos and videos, but tell us some about some of your experiences.
Sure. At my unit, there's no feature stories. There's no, putting your opinion in about nothing. It was strictly the facts. So if a general came to town, or strictly the facts. If it was a big inspection, strictly the facts. So it was quite boring. Yes.
And how long were you a journalist for?
Only for 2 years. That's
still a long time, 2 years.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
That's dedication, I think.
Yes.
Do you have any more exciting stories that you were able to cover? I know you said that a lot of them were pretty boring, just the facts.
Just the facts, quite boring. And I didn't know it was going to be like that. And so that was one of the reasons why I lost interest really quickly, because there was just nothing exciting about it at all. Now, one sort of thing that was sort of exciting, but not really, is that I was in a public affairs unit. So what that job is for the higher ranking officers, and some enlisted, depending, on what their experience was, but they were also responsible for delivering the bad news to families whose service members were killed in the line of duty. And so I didn't want to be in that position, and there was a fear about that as well. But yeah, not exciting, but also part of public affairs that most people don't know about.
But a very crucial part.
Very crucial part.
A very crucial and meaningful part, because they're going to
Yes.
remember that forever. The family members will remember that
Absolutely.
forever. So I'm sure that takes a huge level of skill just
It
to
does.
be able to deliver that news in a way that is meaningful and loving, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When you talked about joining the VTC, what was one of the first things that happened to you that you felt like, wow, this is a cool place that does a lot of cool things?
Absolutely. The very first thing was the social worker. I have the utmost respect, honor, and appreciation, and I might get emotional
It's okay.
because she was so understanding about everything. And the questions that she asked me were so specific to my needs. And even though they were tough ones, like, did I ever have brain trauma, TBI? And I did. And because of that, she put me right into getting MRIs of my brain. After 30 years of not having any insurance, not having any medical treatment, I was able to get an MRI and to see exactly what had affected my brain over 30 years.
Wow.
And that was amazing. And another one was, did I experience any military sexual trauma? And although I wasn't ready to talk about it at that time, I said, well, who would want to know about that? And she explained the details about it. And although I was afraid to talk about it, I knew that the right thing to do was say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, that door opened for me to be able to talk about it. And as a result of all of that and the VTC and that social worker, I went from 50% disabled veteran to 90% within 2 years.
Wow.
And that all came from that social worker asking the right questions and getting me in touch with the right people who could help me with all of my issues.
And that social worker was Aleen?
I look at her, but she was there. She was there with Bobby in the beginning,
Yeah.
but she wasn't the very beginning.
Yeah.
And that social worker that was there at the very beginning is not here anymore.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being so open and sharing that with
Sure.
us. And now that you're obviously more aware of the need for people to be open about that particular subject, why do you think that is?
Oh my goodness, for so many reasons. I'm in a part of a peer support group with women who are in the same position as me. And we have continued, even though there's not a lot of resources for that, we've gotten social workers again who had to move on because of family problems, and we're sitting there as this group of women waiting for the next hire for months and months, like 6 months, 9 months waiting. And they gave us the opportunity to come together on our own and have our own Zoom meetings and and none of us were just skilled enough to be willing to do that. And so the need to have resources for social workers to constantly be ready to fill in the gap when somebody has to leave. We recently had a second social worker who had to have a surgery, had to leave, and her position was only temporary as well. And so this is a constant battle in the past 3 years that I've been here to address, even as women, us to be able to come together and share our own specific situations, circumstances, and needs and have them met. It's a constant battle.
So you're saying a constant battle because there's so much turnover?
Exactly.
I see what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there's so much turnover and our needs are still constant. And so in between the turnover, we're just left hanging.
Yeah.
Literally.
And we don't want that. We don't want that.
No.
And now there's Bobby and Aleen at Lightfighter Village. And do you feel supported?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They are above and beyond and constant. They are constant. So I try not to bother them.
Oh no, no bother at all.
But there are, again, those other resources that I've been finding out about. So recently the new social worker is here in Marina, and she allows female veterans to come in person here somewhere in the Marina Clinic. They
Oh,
meet
you're talking about the VA clinic?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Got it. I thought you were talking about the turnover at VTC. I'm like, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Over at the VA clinic.
At the VA clinic.
Got it.
And so she has in person and Zoom as well. So and that's for veteran women who are all over the United States. And so we all meet right now. It's only once a month.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Right. I see what you're saying. Well, I mean, maybe it's time to start something local.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, we would definitely do whatever we can to support that.
Yeah.
Because it's not going away.
It's not.
You know, I mean, 30 years later,
Yeah.
you know, someone took you seriously and you opened up and shared and you were able to learn something and somehow heal, which is just powerful, you know?
Exactly.
Well, Yvonne, what was it like applying for Lightfighter Village and getting into Lightfighter Village? How did that process go?
That was very challenging in the bureaucratic part of it, but in the humanistic part, it was excellent. And everybody from EAH Housing to the VTC and even to those who worked hands-on like Lightfighter Village staff did everything they could for me, and they did everything right. But the bureaucratic part was a challenge because there was so much regulatory things that had to be taken care of. So that part was frustrating. But once we got all of that ironed out, you know, everything else just flowed like it was supposed to.
So since you've been connected with VTC, even before Lightfighter Village, even before you moved in, what are some of the life skills or tools that you have taken away from this process?
Oh my gosh.
That have helped you?
So many. The first thing that I wanted to talk about was the fact that there's so many men at Lightfighter Village, and there's actually only myself and 3 other women that I know of. And I've actually gotten to meet those other 3 women, and we exchange phone numbers and we're keeping in touch with each other. But, you know, there's such a stigma that comes with, you know, being a female that's a veteran as well. And the fact that we're in this building with mostly men is kind of awkward as well as kind of scary. For me, it was because of my, as you already know, past trauma. And I just wasn't sure how I would handle that. But it has been amazing. It really has, because the fact that most of the veterans there are from different services. They're all very respectful, very honorable, and very polite, and just very helpful. Just simple things like opening the door when they see me with packages, holding the elevator, greeting me just with kindness. And it has taken a lot of that anxiety, fear, worry about, you know, me being in this building with mostly men away. And even the activities, I haven't completely gotten ready for that, but the town hall meetings, I've come to those every month and they've been great. And I'm looking forward to the gardening and the walking, just again, because it's been such a relaxed, peaceful, tranquil atmosphere in general.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Because it's a family, really. They're living in the same building.
It is.
You know, we wish all apartment buildings would be like that, right?
Yes.
I mean, nothing comes without their challenges, but I'm glad to hear that there's a mutual respect there.
Yes.
And I think part of that is that, what do we call that, Maddie? There's that kind of a hidden respect
Yes.
for people who have been in the military and have had experiences, even if it's different levels, different branches. There's something about that binds you together, which I think is powerful. So even, I know there's less women in the military than men. I understand that, but I hope that gap is starting to change a little bit in terms of the level of respect.
Absolutely. My neighbor across the hall, we just happened to, and this was, I got to tell you about this part because this is really impactful. So when I first moved in, I was determined not to speak to anybody. Again, because of my trauma brain, you know, and I just didn't want to be polite because I was afraid that someone would take it as, oh, it's an open door to become more personal. I just didn't want to deal with any of that at all. And so the women in my peer support group, they were concerned about that attitude. And they were like, well, we understand, but at the same time, be yourself. Don't feel like you have to be mean and, mean mug men just because they're greeting you. And I reacted in a negative way. And I said, you don't understand what I've been through all my life. And I got real emotional, and they were very sensitive to that, but I didn't get it. I really just couldn't understand what they meant about just being myself. So my neighbor across the way just happened to be opening his door at the same time I was. And he spoke and he said, oh, so you're the new veteran. Well, my name's, I won't say his name. Nice to meet you. And this was my moment, whether I was going to be mean and not speak and just walk away and go inside my apartment, or just be me. And the real me is a kind person, who's sweet and nice to everybody. And so I turned and I looked at him and I said, hi. And I spoke his name. And I said, my name is Yvonne. Nice to meet you. And he was so nice. And he said, well, please forgive me if I don't remember your name, because I have a memory problem. And don't take it personal, but I'll try to remember your name. And I spoke back and I said, you know what? I have the problem with memory as well. Remember my brain accident? And I said, and that happens to me, but I can remember your name. I said, because it reminds me of a comedian back in the 80s. And I asked him, did he remember that comedian? And he says, yeah, I do remember him. Wow, how do you know about him? You're so young. We actually engaged in a nice, normal conversation. And when it was over, after a couple of minutes, I heard him say as he was entering his apartment, her name is Yvonne. Her name is Yvonne.
Oh, he was repeating
name
it.
was Yvonne.
Oh my gosh, that's powerful.
It was, and it touched my heart in a wonderful way. And that was what my peer support female veteran women were talking about, that I didn't even realize. And I came back and I shared that story with them, and it was so, so powerful. And since then, I've continued to be me, and it's worked.
And knowing that being you is enough.
It was.
And that it's not that high of a risk to be
wasn't.
yourself. So it was
wasn't.
rewarding.
It was.
I'm so happy to hear that. That's an amazing story. I love it.
Thank you.
Is there something that you can talk about? Like, what are you doing now? What do you do with your spare time? What do you like to do?
Wow, there's so much. Oh my goodness. Number one, VTC again, I have to bring them in because there was an equine therapy program that they knew about, and they got me in touch with that. And I went out to Carmel Valley and I got to take care of horses out there, feed them, walk them, interact with them. And they helped me have such courage. I mean, I had no idea that the spirit in horses is something that we can really relate to, commune with, and interact with. And they taught me about courage to the point where, and I have to talk about this because it's so impactful, and I hope that if anybody ever needs it, that they will go through, I can't remember the name, but it'll come to me, the program. But the horses helped me to get the courage to contact a female veteran who was actually reaching out from the same unit that I experienced my military sexual trauma at. And she was looking for female veterans who knew about these leaders, these people. And she was hoping that somebody would help her write a letter to the VA to admit that they knew about this and even had experienced it if possible. I did not have the courage at that time. And it took me 6 months, but through the equine therapy and
being able to talk to these horses about my fears and how they all corralled around me, and how I learned from the trainer that when horses do that, they're giving you a message that is very powerful, to be courageous and to be bold and confident and face those fears. And that day when I received that and how all those horses corralled around me, I got the courage to go and write that letter and to tell that female veteran that I knew exactly what she was talking about. I had experienced it there as well, and I would be willing to write that letter on her behalf, regardless if I had to face, these people being court-martialed and being a witness for her and for myself. I was willing to do it, and that took an extreme amount of courage to do, but I did it. And she answered back right away, within minutes. And she told me that she had already gotten somebody else in that amount of time, but that she would be willing to help me if I needed it.
Oh, wow. Learning how to step out of your comfort zone, because really, we don't always know what the outcome's going to be, right? So she found somebody else, but what that did for you,
it did. She helped me so much.
Was transforming.
She did. And she stayed in touch with me and still stays in touch with me. And she's an advocate for other female veterans as well. She helps so many to do the paperwork with the VSOs and anything else that they need. She literally walked me through the whole process, the exams that we have to go through, the psychological ones, the physical ones. I mean, they're gruesome. They're gruesome that doctors have to go through to find out, the truth behind what happened. Did this really happen? Is this just, you wanting to be compensated? And, just a lot. And she just guided me through every step of that process right up until I got the 90%. And she even still keeps in touch with me to tell me, don't give up, go back, get that 10%. But I'm not ready for that yet. I just feel grateful and so blessed to have gotten as far as I am. But a lot of my female peer support veterans tell me the same thing. You earned it. You deserve it. Don't give up. And regardless of what the VA says about, why they think you shouldn't get more, don't listen to that. Just keep going.
If there is a female veteran listening to this and this sparks something in them, what would be your message to them?
I would tell them the same thing, to don't give up, regardless of your own personal ideas of why you think you don't deserve it, why it's not worth fighting for. Don't listen to those voices in your head. I had the same voices, and most of that came from my own traumatic past, even before I joined the military, my failed marriages and all of that. But don't listen to those voices. You deserve, absolutely deserve, to be compensated for anything and everything you went through. And my own ex-husband, who was my biggest supporter as well, even after our divorce, he told me this, because he also is a disabled veteran and had to fight. And he told me, he said, hey, you were a whole person before you joined the Army. And when you got out, you were not a whole person. You deserve to be compensated every single thing that you went through.
Absolutely.
So look at it as that, and don't let anybody tell you any different. So fight.
You have to fight, absolutely. And that's one thing that Veterans Transition Center does, is we help you fight.
Yes.
So if you are a veteran out there that needs support in any way, please call us, 831-883-8387. I just can't tell you how grateful I am for you being here and sharing your story with us. Yvonne, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And also, Aleen, thank you for all you're doing for Lightfighter Village and supporting the veterans over there. And don't forget, there's women over here. Come knock on our door. Or bring the 3 women from Lightfighter Village. Come knock on our door. We'll have lunch.
Yes,
okay?
that would be great.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Sure.